having a mental crisis right now because I think I might have to rewrite my entire channel and who it's for. In my last video, I broke down 21 business ideas that I've had over the course of the last 10 years. Not just ideas, I only included businesses that actually either made money or I spent money on. And then someone watched my video and then sent me this DM. And it's making me reconsider my entire channel because instinctively I thought I knew the answer. But when I dug a little deeper, what I found changed everything I believe about what you should do when you want to start your first business. But before I tell you about the rabbit hole that I went down, first, the wrong answer. When someone asks me, how are you always able to execute so fast? My first thought is, I have ADHD, which, fair. But when I started to look around to answer this person's question better, I realized that ADHD couldn't be the answer. When I look at other people with ADHD, they're out collecting hobbies. I'm out here collecting businesses like they're infinity stones. So while ADHD probably does contribute to it, it doesn't fully explain it. And then I started to ask myself more and more, what could this actually be? And I was like, but I've always done this. I started young. I realized that everyone I know who churns out a business in a weekend also started young. And then I started thinking, okay, let's do some proper research. And so I went into Claude Code and I said, give me 100 entrepreneurs who are known for executing. How old were they when they made not their first 100,000, not their first million, not their first billion, their first single dollar? And I want you to guess how old the average person was. What was the first interaction with making money? It was 13. I expected it to be young, but I didn't expect it to be that young. If you're in your mid-30s or mid-40s or maybe even 50, that might seem a little discouraging to you. But I want you to stick with me because the fact that they started young, I think, is really interesting. My theory is that building a business is a muscle. And like any other muscle, you have to practice to build it. Learning to do your first push-up is so much harder than learning to do your 5th push-up. Because after your first push-up, it becomes muscle memory. 0 to 1 is always going to be the hardest part. And this is where my theory comes in. Making money works the exact same way. The people who started early have an advantage because it's before shame, before risk. You can do anything when you're a kid. If your first business is a lemonade stand and you're 10 years old, if you don't sell a single one, you go home and nothing happens. But if you do it when you're 40, you could lose your house. The 100 entrepreneurs on my list, people like Alex Hormozi, Larry Page, Mark Zuckerberg, they didn't succeed just because they were prodigies. They succeeded because by the time that they were 25, they had dozens of failures under their belt. And when I look back at my own story, I realize it's so true. Even though I talked about the 21 businesses, I didn't talk about the first way I made money. When I was a kid, my parents would take us to work and we were paid a salary. And then I would take that money, buy a bunch of candy, and sell it while I was in school. At that age, I didn't have a word for things like supply chain and risk, pricing, or customer demand. But I was training that muscle. So it makes sense that in my 20s and my 30s, and now in my 40s, I'm able to wake up on a Saturday morning and have a business by Sunday evening. It's not magic, it's not talent. It's literally just that I've spent a lot of time building this muscle. But if you didn't grow up like that, you didn't grow up selling candy at school or putting on plays or doing all this crazy stuff to make money early, and now you're sitting down in your 30s, your 40s and thinking, I want to start something, the internet is going to give you the absolute wrong advice. The internet is going to tell you to focus in and try to do one thing. That is the equivalent of telling someone who's never run before to go do a marathon. If you try it, you will burn out. And then you're going to think, I'm just not built for this. But that's not true. It's not that you're not built for it. It's that you haven't trained for it. You don't need a startup. You don't need $1 million business idea. You don't need a long-term strategy. What you actually need is a ton of reps. You need to be starting as many things as possible in as many fun ways as possible so that you enjoy the process and you start to build the muscle. And those repeated reps is what this channel is going to change to be about. My goal is to help you see opportunity everywhere. To go to bed on a Friday night with a business idea and by Saturday evening have a real thing in your hand. Not $1 billion unicorn, not $1,000 a day like the YouTube gurus will promise you. A singular dollar that someone actually paid you for. Because I promise you, once that muscle fires for the first time, you won't be able to stop. So if this is the kind of thing that you're interested in, or you're trying to explore how to make money, maybe you don't want to be trapped in your 9-to-5 job, or you're looking for a cute side hustle, or just a way to spend your time that is rewarding. If you want to learn about business frameworks and mental models that I use so rapidly execute and create a ton of value very, very quickly, if you want making money to be fun and use it as a way to explore your passions, your creativity, I want to help you build confidence in your ability to make something out of nothing, to turn a random idea you had on the train or on the bus or in the shower into a real thing with curiosity and passion and fun. My name is Tammy, and on this channel, I break down how I come up with ideas, how to build them quickly, how to validate them so you don't waste time or money. I go through all my mental models, all my frameworks, and how I'm able to execute so rapidly. And I will be doing this in real time with you. So if that excites you, make sure to subscribe to the channel, because in the next video, I'm going to be taking one of my ideas and show you exactly how I figure out how to validate it to make sure that it's actually worth building. So make sure to subscribe to the channel. Ciao! O double! Bye!